Hey, folks, this is Coach Roger coming to you live. And when you're live, you thrive. And I appreciate all of you. I'm going to give you a ring of the victory bell for being awake and being so alive because you're thriving here on Sunday morning. And I just want to say, you know who else is thriving? My next guest. So today we have Dr. Pamela Pine, PhD, MPH, MAIA, RCHES. She's been an international health, development, and communication professional throughout her adult life. She's concentrating on enhancing the lives of the poor and otherwise underserved groups. With a two-decade specialty on preventing and mitigating child sexual abuse, the CSA, and other adverse child experiences, ACEs. So now, she's also a professor, best-selling and award-winning author, award-winning photographer, and a painter. She uses art as her advocacy in work. I'll share her links in the show notes. And without any further delay, let's talk to the one and only Dr. Pamela Pine, the one who walked uphill to school, in the snow without shoes, the one and only Pamela Pine. Hello, hello, Pamela. How you doing today?
Hello, hello. I got my shoes on.
Oh, fantastic. I always say that story because my father, he just told me when he actually went to a dental school in India, is his first semester, he didn't have a bicycle. He had to walk 6 miles each way.
Yeah,
And one of those days, one of his sandals broke. So he actually had to walk barefoot both ways. I'm like, oh my gosh. And
yeah.
the things we take for granted here. But you are here and you're an amazing. You get the victory bell for being here. And thank you so much. So let's just dive right into the questions.
Sure.
So, Pamela, I just want to ask you here. So now, um, what was your childhood like?
I love this question because I love to answer it. My parents were truly amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say the family didn't have issues. Every family has issues.
Mm-hmm.
But what my parents did, my mom and my dad, what they did differently from many parents, I believe, and certainly the parents of families at the time when I grew up,
Yep.
was that they introduced me to a whole host of life experiences. So
Mm.
on my coffee tables, the coffee tables in the living room, there was the Scientific Americans because my dad was a chemist and my mother was
Yep.
very artsy. She was an amazing actress. So there were the art books, the Picassos, the Chagalls,
Yep.
the
Mm-hmm.
Monets. And so I grew
Mm.
up with this sense of the arts and the sciences together. And I'm very convinced that it actually formed my brain, which we know it actually does, the effect on the neurology and all of that. It really does.
Yep.
My mother was also a linguist. So I grew up with tongue twisters and I grew up with choral
Um,
speaking and I grew up with theater as a very young kid in theaters in schools because my mom was a speech therapist and the head of the drama department for the elementary schools. So it was a
mm-hmm.
really interesting upbringing. My dad was also very nature oriented. So
Yep.
lots of animals, lots of being outdoors. It was I feel treated. I do. I feel treated. I feel lucky to have had that kind of
Yep.
upbringing.
Right. Nice. That's great. And so, what propelled you to do the work that you do now, like internationally?
When I was 16 years old, I got chosen
Mhm.
as my high school's international exchange student, and I was
Yeah.
sent to India. I'd never been on a plane before, and
Where I
I
was
lived
born.
and I lived with a family
Yeah.
in what is now Mumbai, was
Yeah.
Bombay then.
Yeah.
And that whet my appetite for things foreign, generally foods and people and cultures and sights and sounds. And after college, I went to work in a leprosy hospital in Yemen, working
Mm-hmm.
with Mother Teresa's sisters, the missionaries of charity.
Hmm.
And that further wet it. And I went on from Yemen to Morocco to Ethiopia to Egypt to Ecuador to New Zealand to literally from Latin America all the way over to Oceania over the years. And I've
Hmm.
loved it. It's a high, and it's a really wonderful experience to be able to meet those people and work with them while enjoying their culture. So,
Yeah. I'm glad you had
and
that opportunity. That's
yeah,
amazing.
and I'll add one other thing if I may, Raj,
Okay,
and
sure. Yeah.
that is that my family, particularly my mom, but my dad as well, were very socially oriented. So there was an actual expectation that I would assist in ways where I could assist. So
Hmm.
I started working, for example, with kids with cerebral palsy and neurological disorders from the time I was 15 years old. And
No.
that
Mhm.
and that stayed with me throughout my life. It was a given, and it still is.
Nice. And I love that the fact that like you say that, you were given that opportunity to connect with different people, different backgrounds, and you were able to create an impact on them. And then, I want to say also like one of your, I want to share your link down below. This is from your IVAT centers about Stop the Silence. Make sure that people know about this. Make sure you click on that link below. It'll be below in the show notes as well. And I will share all the links below after the show. So let's move on. I want to ask you about um, you know why did you get so involved with child protection? And this is something for our younger audiences. You may want to ask your parents about this because there are some you know some mature situations about to be talked about.
Yeah, I was working at an international health and development company in
Mm-hmm.
Washington, D.C.,
Yeah.
and across my desk, across my screen,
Yeah.
came a very, very early request for proposals from the
Mm-hmm.
Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which
Yeah.
is a US government agency, as we all know. And
Mm-hmm.
CDC was looking to do comprehensive research on all aspects of interpersonal violence. Those
Mm-hmm.
included elder abuse and bullying and domestic violence and child abuse. My
Mm-hmm.
sister, Amy Pine, was a therapist in Santa Cruz, California, and
Mm.
she had gained a reputation for working well with survivors of child sexual abuse. So
Gotcha.
I started there, Raj, and I
Right.
started reading and reading and reading and reading. And what I found amazing and incomprehensible to me is that I knew nothing. I had
Yeah.
gone through at that point, Raj, a PhD in health
Yeah.
communication, a master's of public health from a very prestigious university, and a
Mm-hmm.
master's of international affairs, and an undergrad from Cornell. Starting in medicine, I didn't complete the medical training, but I had
Mm-hmm.
not had one course in
Um.
child protection, not one. And I
Yeah.
checked with my colleagues, and they hadn't either.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure somebody needs to do this. There's the my social family stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to do something about this
Yep.
because Raj,
I know exactly what you mean.
one out of four girls and one out of six boys in the United States alone is sexually molested by the time they're 18 years old.
I know, and that's disgusting. I cannot believe that even here in the US, that statistic is still allowed to exist. If we can cure
Exactly.
polio, measles, and so many other things, why can't we put a
Exactly.
stop to this too?
Exactly.
I'm not
And
saying
we
everything's
did,
perfect,
right.
but
And the fact is that we know how to do it. The
yeah,
fact is that we're making a choice because the money is not there to do it. Because once you put child and sex in the
yeah,
same sentence, everybody runs away.
yeah.
The
It's
issue
scary.
is the issue is packed with shame and fear and protection
Yep.
and all of
Agree.
those kinds of things. And so we don't deal with it the way we know we can and the way we know we should.
Right.
And we're better than we were 20 years ago. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
People used to literally walk away from me. They don't anymore. Now they congratulate me for doing the work.
Yeah.
But it's still hugely problematic. And so my heart and soul went into it, and I put everything that I know how to do into dealing with it from the arts and the science sides.
Yeah, gotcha. All right. Thank you for that. And thank you for sharing such a really a touchy subject. And it's always one where when we discuss this in the lives, I always tell people, you don't realize what's happening in your own backyard or in your own town or in your own state. And it's true that this actually still exists. And it's not only a third world country thing, it is everywhere in every country. And the problem is, like you were saying, we don't have the money to combat it enough. So you have a nonprofit that helps combat it. We're going to make sure that we make it like a donation to your nonprofit as well, and
Thank
and
you.
and and to make sure that you have the resources and the funds you need. I'm going to encourage everybody out there to please do that. Now, um, let's think a little bit about uh, when we talk about impact, we were just talking about speaking and how you can get out of more stages. What is it that you think that you can do by getting onto more stages and creating that impact to share your message even more?
I'm looking for a bullhorn, Raj. I'm looking for a very large bullhorn, because one
Yep.
thing that I realized when I first started this work
Yep.
is that if we cannot talk about it, if we do not understand it, if we do not have the right information or the skills, then we can't do anything about it. And unless enough people look, we some years back, we had HIV all of a sudden arrive on the scene. HIV.
Yeah.
Everybody shunned the people who were getting sick, right?
Yeah.
Elizabeth Taylor stepped up and said, "This is nonsense. We have to do something." And the
Yeah.
whole world took a piece of it. And now we spend billions upon billions upon billions of dollars both preventing as well as treating and eradicating AIDS and HIV.
Well,
We are doing the same thing with breast cancer. When I grew up, I don't know about
yeah.
you, Raj, you're a very young man after all, but after
Mhm.
when I was growing up, you didn't say the word breast out loud. You
Oh yeah.
didn't you didn't
Yep.
say it in mixed company,
I grew up that way too.
right.
Like
And
company, you don't say those kind of words.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
Yeah.
But you didn't say amongst women, and you certainly didn't say it amongst mixed company.
Yeah.
And now we talk about it openly on television in conversation. It was
Mhm.
the cancer was the big C. You didn't even say that word. So that has all changed.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do with regard to child sexual abuse and other adverse childhood experiences or ACEs.
Right.
And we can do it.
Right. So now, to your point, when we talk about HIV, guess what? I worked in two different companies that worked on HIV, and so uh, Virco, which actually connected with Janssen, they ended up forming a like database to collect information about HIV and like and like a viral load, matching it to their database, so you could find in the future based on the strain that a patient had, they gave them the right medicine and the right dosing. And this was more than 10, 15 years ago. Now, fast forward, there are multiple drugs that, and I'm not talking about just the like AZT that came out 20 years ago. I'm talking about now there are Cabenuva. There's other ones that also patient can take at home. It's almost to the point where it is now can extend your life at least 20 plus years, and
Right.
it's something that you can manage almost like diabetes type 2. And
Right.
so it is no longer the death sentence. So
Right.
and so for people, and I know a friend from my younger days. He was 25 years old and he died of HIV. And it's a shame, but I understand that that was more than 20 years ago. They didn't realize they caught it too late, and then by that time that he actually went to the hospital, he didn't. He got freaked out and scared, and he left. And unfortunately, it took his life. And so nowadays, just like with most things, we have more knowledge. We need to start the conversation.
Exactly. Exactly. And the thing is, Raj, is that ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, including child sexual abuse, have such an enormous impact on our health and well being,
Yeah.
as well as our families, our communities, our
Hmm.
societies, our nations. From
Yeah.
psychological problems to physical problems to chronic disease to early death, and
Yeah.
we are not reacting in a strong enough fashion in
I
order
agree with
to
you. Yeah.
deal with
Hmm.
all of that. So that's the reason I want this bullhorn. I want a really loud bullhorn, and I want a really big stage, and I want to have these conversations, and I want to bring this to the public because we all need to get behind this. Every single person that's
Hmm.
listening, every single person around knows someone who was abused in one or more of these ways. We
Yep.
are fooling ourselves to think that we don't. Whether or not they're saying it or not is another story. But most people, Raj, most
Hmm.
women don't report until they are 52 years old, if they say it
Wow.
then.
Yeah. So there is the link down below to stop the silence. Make sure you click that down below. We're going to move on to our next segment because we want to get to know you as a person. So just rapid fire. Tell us a little bit about yourself. So growing up, where were you born?
I
Where were you
was
born?
born in Patterson, New Jersey, grew up in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Woo woo,
Awesome.
Fair Lawn. Yeah.
What was your favorite book or film growing up that helped shape the way you think?
Alice in Wonderland was a big one. I still love Alice in Wonderland. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I love the words. I love the rhyming. I love the story. I love the
Yeah.
fantasy aspects of it.
Nice, nice. Because I know that I remember watching the Matrix years ago, and there were so many Alice in Wonderland references. What are you going down down the rabbit hole, or are you making that choice or not? And it's all about making those choices in your life. What about what is your favorite kind of music? What's your jam?
I'm very eclectic, and it
Hmm.
depends on my mood. I listen from classical to hard rock to rap to the blues to
Yeah,
really hard rock. Janis Joplin. I love the blue, the women folk singers that I grew up with, Joni Mitchell and Joan Baez, and
yeah.
the '70s stuff. I listen to it all. It really depends on my mood.
Nice, nice, nice. I love that because like I always say the same thing when someone asks me like, "What do you like to listen to?" It's like, well, I'm eclectic. I listen to pretty much everything, and the reason is that why you know why restrict yourself to like to like innovation and thought? Like expand the horizons of your mind. Um, Now my favorite question I always ask, like, what is your favorite food?
Almost anything from outside the United States. I love Ethiopian food. I love Indian food.
Hmm.
I love various types of Asian food. I lived in Japan, so I love
Yep.
sushi.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh, I gotta follow a whole bunch of like
I'm,
restaurants now.
I'm a really good eater. You can put almost anything in front of me besides grease, and I'll eat it. But it's the foreign foods that really draw me.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, hold on, hold on. I have a phone call here. Hello, Marrakesh. Yeah, we need a pallet of Ethiopian food for green room, and can you talk to my partner that's in like New Delhi, the restaurant that's in Philadelphia? We also need a whole bunch of food from there too. All right, so good. Straight to green room. All right, so that's my totally real call. You're gonna get a bunch of food sent to you in the green room, and now I hope you save me some. Most of my guests are hungry, so they don't, but that's okay. So
Well, Ethiopian food comes on a big platter, so there'll
yes,
be
it does.
plenty.
There'll be plenty. Excellent. Good, good. All right, Dr. Pamela, we're going to switch gears a little bit. Thank you so much for being here and being amazing. We're going to send you to green room with all that food. And for everybody else that is watching on the live right now, Did you know that in order for you to create your own brand, you got to have a speaker reel of some kind? You must be able to promote yourself. And here's an example of what we can do for you.
When you throw a rock into a lake, what happens? No, there's a splash. You make an impact, and then you get waves. And then you don't know where those waves are going. Those waves are going past around the reeds, and you don't know where that impact is. So all of you out there, when you're on stage, you don't know where your impact is going to end. It's never going to end.
All right, folks. So in this week's sponsor segment, I have a very special sponsor segment for you. All right. It is my book that just released 2 months ago. Guess what? I have sold already hundreds of copies. It is an international bestseller. And I just booked a gig with Pfizer, and they just bought 100 copies to share with their DEI summit, where I'll be speaking for 45 minutes. And it's amazing to create that impact. And a portion of the proceeds of this book will also go to help support invisible disabilities being added to the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. Because in this segment of the 60-second mind shift, I want to ask you something. What is in your blind spot that you didn't realize? Because when you think about what is it that you know, we have conscious competence, then we have unconscious competence, and then we have unconscious lack of knowledge. So it's kind of like you know what you know what you don't know, but you don't know what you don't know. And that's where we start to give a spotlight on your blind spots. So whether it is about child sex slavery, whether it is about the plight of the homeless, whether it is about the plight of the disabled or invisible disabilities that get marginalized in a corporate environment and by HR, whether you are diverse and you need DEI initiatives so that you get seen. Because if you don't get seen, you don't even get hired or interviewed, do you? So all of these things are examples of what are the things that are in our blind spots. I would love for you all to think about that. And while you're thinking about that, don't forget also that we offer a free course that helps you to create your new version of yourself. Make sure you go to Victory Mindset Academy, grab your free course so that you can start to open up your mindset and shine a light on the things that you didn't know that you don't know, because only then can you grow. So let's come back and let's find out where Pamela is and if she saved me any food. So welcome back, Dr. Pamela. How was all the food?
It was delicious.
Fantastic. Did you save me any? Is there any left?
There's a little on the side.
Nice. Very good. All right. So Dr. Pamela, tell me please, what do you think about the 60-second training and what would you add to it?
I think that I add to it. I think it was very, very interesting and very, very good. Maybe, I think can I talk about framing?
Of course, please.
I would pull it back a little bit. And I might include maybe a stool on the stage as a prop. You're talking about the sizzle, right?
No. I'm talking about what I talked about, shining a light on people's blind spots.
I thought I was watching something. Oh, absolutely. We absolutely need to bring our best selves forward and make sure that we have what we want to say on the tips of our tongues and present ourselves in the best manner humanly possible. Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Pamela. So now we have a few, we have about a 1 minute left. I want to ask you, what is the overarching theme that you would like people to recall about you?
She tried really, really hard.
Yeah.
She worked really, really hard, and she made the biggest difference that she possibly can. I'd also like to be known. I'm a really good friend. That's the other. It's both personal and professional.
Oh, I agree.
I am honest to the core. I will stand by you to the end. So.
Right. Fantastic. All right. Now, last question. If someone gave you a blank check and said you have unlimited resources, what would be your grand vision to change the world?
I would internationally develop a program that is aimed toward the prevention of CSA and ACEs,
Hmm.
because that will change the world. There would be no Putins, there would be no Hitlers. Every
Hmm.
child would have a supportive childhood that they could hold on to and grow from. And that
Yeah,
truly will bring the kind of connection and the kind of peace to the world that we all say we're looking for.
fantastic. I love it. You're going to ring the victory bell for being here. Thank you, Dr. Pamela, for being here, being so amazing. We appreciate you. And everybody out there, thank you so much for being here and being so amazing. This is Coach Raja. As always, don't fake it till you make it. Instead, believe it and become it. And we see you all on the next show. Bye bye. All right. Great job. We have three quick questions for you, and then we are out of here. Number one, what was your favorite part about being on the show today?
I enjoy these types of experiences. I enjoy a good narrator, so thank you, and a good interviewer, so thank you. I enjoy being asked about what I think are important aspects in my life and the lives of others, so
Hmm.
thank you.
Fantastic.
I
Thank you.
enjoy the energy, so thank you.
Indeed. Thank you so much. What was your biggest takeaway from the show today?
I think that the connection between people and who is being interviewed, who is
Hmm.
interviewing and who is interviewed, that connection is
Hmm.
critical. And I think that was really solid here. And it's something that I will look for in the future.
Outstanding. And so, everybody who's watching still on the live, please give us some hearts and likes. We always love hearts and likes. So, thank you so much for being here and being on the live. And if you're on the replay, you get to play again. So, please leave us some hearts and likes on the replay as well. Last question. Would you recommend me as a speaker on somebody else's stage?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Woo!
I think that what you're talking about, especially, I come from a speech therapy mother.
Oh, I know. We want to talk about that too. And what's interesting is too, when you mentioned earlier on about the challenges, I believe me, I've lived it. I've lived it.
Right. And
Yeah,
it's really important information, critical information. So
it certainly is.
thank you for that too.
You're welcome very much. All right, Dr. Pamela, thank you so much for being amazing. We are out of here.